I wanted to share a story with you today because I think it's a perfect example of how powerful metaphor can be to understand ourselves better and to understand how to shift emotional experiences. So, when we're caught in difficult emotions like overwhelm, it's easy to get stuck in old patterns and react the same way over and over again, even when it doesn't seem to help. But when we take a step back and see things from a different perspective, or elicit an image or sensation or something about that's happening, we can really take a look at how and what is really occurring on a subconscious level. Our subconscious speaks in the form of pictures and images and sensations, and sometimes our conscious mind doesn't really understand what it's saying. So when we can create a system where both hemispheres can be able to talk to each other, it can often give us a path forward. So recently I was experiencing that sense of overwhelm. And so I took a moment to ask myself, if this had a form or an image, what would it look like? What is it like for me to experience this overwhelm? And the image that came to me was this ice cube. It's like when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I feel frozen. I feel stuck inside this ice cube. I almost can't move. And normally what I do about this is I start to fight it. I start to try to break out. I start to search for light. I start to force my way through this ice cube so that I can feel some sense of relief. But when I took a step back and I looked at this metaphor objectively, I started to realize something that really wasn't working for me anymore. And so it was time to ask myself what actually would be more helpful. And when I asked myself that, the answer became simple. Instead of struggling and trying to find what to do and search for this light, I could actually just stand still. I could breathe, and I can just allow a sense of like some sort of light, some sort of sun to just melt the ice away, and I could experience some sort of peace. So the next morning, I experienced that sense of overwhelm, and I recognized that this metaphorical experience was happening again. So I decided to do something differently. I remembered my metaphor, and so I sat down instead of trying to break free, and I sat down and I closed my eyes and I started to take some deep breaths, and I started to do a short little meditation. And I happened to be sitting by a window, and all of a sudden I felt the sun coming through the window, and all of a sudden it started to become and warm my skin. And in that instant, I felt all of that sense of overwhelm instantly evaporating from my body. This experience was really powerful for me to actually be able to understand how I could actually shift this overwhelm. And it reminded me of why metaphor is such a powerful tool. When we tap into the language of metaphor, we can actually be able to shift things and work with our mind instead of against it. And when we do that, it's when real transformation occurs. And this is what I do in my work as a holistic wellness coach. I help people to tap into that sense inside of them, to elicit metaphors, to work with the body, and to work with the subconscious mind in a way that creates change quickly and deeply. Because when we tap in and start to work with ourselves and start to listen, we don't just cope with life anymore. We can actually transform it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.